Thank you for the introduction and a warm welcome from me to all who joined the session today. I'm here to give you a short introduction of DycoTradeNext. The Microsoft approval of the DycoTrade CTRM solution as a certified Microsoft Dynamics 365 solution is a big achievement for DycoTrade. Nevertheless, customers and the market are asking for more new business strategies and new technology solutions. With the previous Microsoft Dynamics AX 2012 platform, all functionality was concentrated in one single solution. This dramatically changed with the introduction of the Microsoft Cloud First, Mobile First strategy in 2016. And that is why DycoTradeNext was founded. A new company with a core of 9 employees and a network of specialists busy since the very beginning of the introduction in 2016 with the new technologies around Microsoft Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. The team has a background of many years with Microsoft Dynamics AX. My name is Aad de Jonge and I'm responsible for the DycoTradeNext activities. The launch of Microsoft Dynamics 365 and Microsoft 365 on Microsoft Azure, the technology platform offered many more options for supporting individual businesses and enterprises to achieve growth and a more strategic and more individual solution. Forrester speaks of a digital operations platform as the representation of a technological platform replacing the monolithic ERP solution and adding all kinds of new technology areas to the core business solution of well-known functions and vertical functionality, like DycoTrade CTRM in our case. The DycoTrade Digital Operations Platform is based on Microsoft technology and forms the fundament for the technology used for your own business roadmap. The combination of the industry knowledge of DycoTrade combined with the generic business and technology knowledge of DycoTradeNext will be used to support you with the best possible solution today, tomorrow, and be prepared for the day after tomorrow. Today, we will cover some technology topics as an introduction, like all about data, be more productive, and about smart contracts. We will also spend time on the business-oriented services, focusing on change and digital transformation. This is important for you as a company to play an infinite game. Be prepared for change and staying ahead of the curve. Thank you for now. It makes sense that we need your input and cooperation to make DycoTradeNext a success. If there are any questions regarding any presentation you will get today, please ask your questions using the chat function, and we can get back to you at the end of the session. Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining me. In the next 10 minutes, I would like to show you how your data can assist you to run your business more profitably. I'm Norbert, and I believe that having the right data is essential for us to take our best decisions. Let's say, for instance, that John has 2 apples and Peter has 3 apples. We can conclude that between them they have 5 apples. If they each were to eat an apple a day, we can also conclude that John will run out of apples before Peter. We can therefore suggest to John that he should buy apples before Peter. The real world is a bit more complicated. Data will talk if you're willing to listen to it. We collect billions of data points using our systems of record, more than we can comprehend and consider for our conclusions. The power of computing helps us transform these data points into intelligence. This helps us make better supported and more logical conclusions. We could also discover insights that help us evolve our thought process. The Microsoft platform gives us all the tools we need to do this to enhance your usage of the DycoTrade solution. Let's take a look at the evolution of reporting into data science based on a case that I have worked on last year. The Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam and Playmobil in Hull Farm, Malta have a unique relationship. Playmobil builds toys based on Rijksmuseum artworks. They are only allowed to sell these to the Rijksmuseum, and the Rijksmuseum is only allowed to order them from Playmobil. They replenish stock in the thousands, and it takes months to deliver. Currently, using 3 sources of data, including 2 ERP systems, the Rijksmuseum can determine their current stock level and order new stock when they are about to run out. This is descriptive analytics, and it is where a lot of companies start with their reporting effort. By adding external data, such as the past weather data, museum tickets sold, the event calendar of Amsterdam, the Rijksmuseum is able to understand better the patterns that cause high and low levels of sales, and subsequent inventory overstock or shortage. This is explanatory analytics. Taking it a step further, the insights can be parameterized to answer questions such as what would have happened if it was sunny on King's Day, or what is the effect of sales if the nearby Van Gogh Museum has a special exhibit. You can also drill down further into the data to retrieve more specific insights, such as deriving sales by nationality of the visitor. This is exploratory analytics. Now that we have an explanation of why things are happening and a way of drawing possible future scenarios, we can try to forecast our sales. We can, for instance, look at the future event calendar of Amsterdam, monitor social feeds for mentions of the Rijksmuseum or similar words, and use these to forecast short-term and long-term sales. This can help us predict when we could run out of stock and determine the best time to order anew. You might still remember where previously we suggested that John should buy apples before Peter. We now have all the insights to make predictions for the Rijksmuseum. So, for instance, instead of the purchaser making a purchase order, the system could create a purchase order for Playmobil and the purchaser only needs to approve it. The system could also suggest new gadgets that the Rijksmuseum should sell. This relationship between human and AI augments the capabilities of the Rijksmuseum to be more efficient and profitable. It is easy to get overwhelmed with the amount of data and insights that can be provided. You want to see the data that you need at the place where you need it the most. What better way than to have your data embedded in your everyday forms? On screen you can see a project management dashboard in Dynamics 365, showing your live data coming out of the ERP, as well as combined data from other systems using Power BI. The dashboard is context sensitive by being filtered based on the company and date you are working on. Using your role, the data could even be more specifically filtered to show you only the insights that you need. Microsoft Teams gives us the capability of working together and sharing insights, not just within our company, but with third parties. Placing Power BI analytics within a team on Microsoft Teams allows us to share our insights with the team members in a secure and context-sensitive way. For instance, we can share our current stock levels with our vendors so that they can determine when they should prepare to restock our inventory. Your insights are also available on the go. You can view your live reports on your tablet, phone, and even your smartwatch. And did I mention that the reports are actionable as well? You can actually take action to resolve problems with your data directly from your mobile device. Let's say the temperature in your cold room is too high. You can turn the freezing unit up or send for the maintenance guy directly from the report. I order a lot of stuff from Amazon, Bol.com, Alibaba, eBay. Since I paid for it already, I feel I should know exactly where my purchase is. Likewise, when you purchase your coffee beans, flowers, and precious materials, you want to know exactly where they are to take better business decisions. The power of IoT makes that possible. We live in a connected world. Ships, airplanes, trucks are all connected. Using the Microsoft IoT Hub and Power BI, we can know exactly where our items are in the world. Microsoft Stream Analytics makes your reports live within your workspace. Your reports are no longer stale, but they are showing you real-time data as it happens and updating immediately when an event occurs. Let's say you are unloading your cargo from your vessels. Using Stream Analytics and IoT, you can immediately see what items are moving from the ships to your trucks, who is doing it, and you can make sure that all the compliance measurements are adhered to. I would like to spend some time describing cases where artificial intelligence can also help you. I spent 6 years working in a laboratory that analyzed various materials. The quality of the results is paramount in these cases, as you have to be more than 99.9% correct. If you were to perform 20 tests under the same conditions on the same material, you expect the same result 20 times. So, how do you identify when things go wrong to prevent reporting wrong results? The statistical process control methodology in Six Sigma can, for instance, resolve a large part of this problem. Out in the wild, though, we are not working under laboratory conditions. Machine learning provides many classification algorithms that can learn from several data features and build logic that can classify a new data point based on the features it has. For instance, the system can determine if a patient entering a hospital with COVID-19 symptoms should be hospitalized based on the patient's pre-existing conditions. Taking it a step further, while classification attempts to group data together, regression algorithms try to predict the most likely number. Based on the previous data for coffee prices, such as seasonal variances and ongoing trends, machine learning algorithms, such as moving averages, can forecast future prices within a range of accuracy: optimistic, pessimistic, and most likely. I actually use a similar concept to try and understand the accuracy of the estimates that my development team gives me. This way, we can improve our sprint planning and have predictable goals. The Microsoft Cortana Analytics Gallery provides a host of pre-built regression and classification solutions to answer common problems. Some, such as product recommendations, are already used by the Dynamics 365 platform. Of course, we can always customize and build your own using the same tools that Microsoft uses. The world is full of data, but it is not always a bunch of numbers. Once in a while, you need to do a bit more. If you are asking for a raise, should you ask your boss on Monday or on Friday? Should you ask him when he is frowning or when he is smiling? A computer can easily interpret a day of a week, but interpreting facial expressions is a bit more difficult. There have been many advancements since 2005 on AI. I am sure a lot of you have had to click on forms to identify fire hydrants, traffic signs, buses, etc., commonly known as CAPTCHAs. That data is actually used to train algorithms that can identify the content of pictures. Commonly known as convolutional neural networks, they are one form of artificial intelligence that can convert sensory input, be it visual or auditory, into numbers. These are based on years of research and competition, which eventually result in making things such as the self-driving car a reality. You too can benefit from this using a huge library of pre-built neural networks on the Microsoft Cognitive Services platform for vision, speech language, decision making, and search capabilities. And if you can't find what you want, we can build it for you. The Microsoft Synapse Analytics platform is a fully comprehensive toolkit for gathering the best insights from your data. With Azure Data Factory, we can ingest large volumes of data in real time. This can then be transformed with Azure Databricks and Azure Data Warehouse into valuable insights. The result can be viewed in your visualization platform of choice, be it our favorite, Power BI, Excel for those who love writing formulas, and more. You can also load the insights into another platform, such as Dynamics 365, for further use. Microsoft provides us with enough tools to do a lot with data, and are a must for any company with ambitions to achieve more. Well, I guess that's all I had for today. Thanks again for listening to my brief introduction to what we, as DycoTradeNext, can do with your data using the Microsoft platform for all functionality. Now it's your turn. I'm very curious to find what your thoughts are, so please put your comments in the chat function. We're here to help you. Let's create some cool products together.
Before we move to the next technology area, we would like to focus on the business ability of the DycoTrade companies to support you with the overall consult over digital transformation and more business-oriented matters. Next to the employees of both companies, we also can manage additional resources from our network when needed. In the numerous projects we have executed throughout the years, we have encountered all kinds of customer situations, good and bad ones. Did we only concern technology in the beginning? Eventually we got more and more involved in the why of the technology project as well. Not thinking short term, but long term, the infinite game. The main purpose of the support is to understand your why, your business roadmap. And the power of the combination of the companies in the DycoTrade family is ready to offer you all you need regarding the business knowledge of your specific industry, together with the tools available to follow and lead. Every situation is different, from a complexity perspective or capability and maturity angle. We can support you with every step of the process. Assess where you are and where you want to grow. Together designing the roadmap of your business. Finding the hotspots, discussing and adjusting, staying close to your ambition, and not jumping at a technology roller coaster when you're not ready for it. Together we can find the opportunities to get more effective with the highest possible efficiency level. The process of discovery when performing the assessment is most interesting. Balancing where you are, what you want, and what is possible. We are not ready to fully innovate, then creating a culture of continuous business improvements, taking small steps into the right direction will be the first move. Defining desired outcomes as a result. Regardless where you are in the journey of your company, striving for the best gives most satisfaction. Creating a culture of trust will help you to achieve more. The management of business functions and their information, which are part of a routine, day-to-day activities, including operational decision-making, being performed by systems instead of human beings, is defined as digital transformation. During this transformation, organizations will use several kinds of technology that, while working in tandem, will appear like a well-coordinated team of highly skilled and efficient resources. In such organizations, human roles will be fewer in terms of headcount, and therefore the organization structure will appear very flat. However, human beings will be involved in managing impactful tasks that are business critical, which will call for judgment skills, critical thinking, and spontaneity in decision making. Digital transformation is an interesting journey. The best result, achieving the defined outcomes, is a clear understanding of the individual processes in your company and a visual business roadmap. When we execute a business transformation role, we put our chair on your side of the table, supporting you with making the most obvious choices and managing the process, regardless who is executing the job. You should aim high, because it's not a matter of winning a single battle, but staying in the infinite game eventually. Thank you for your attention on this presentation. And again, please send us your questions using the chat function. Welcome to the session called Be More Productive. We would like to give you an overview of all the new products that Microsoft has created in getting customers more productive. We will give you a fast snapshot of most important ones to have a feeling of what is possible. New technology asks also for new roles within the team. And especially when it comes to customer experience, how things look, we have done quite some addition to the team as well. People that are familiar with that, creating web applications, knowing how to come up with customer journeys and translate them into applications that really work well. Working with DycoTrade CTRM solution, you have a tool in the hands where you can execute most of the tasks of your organization. The jobs to be done are most of it solved, but the question is it executed in a way that you really like or you really need? In the old days, you had the opportunity to make changes to the solution specifically for you. This is done differently today. Especially when it comes to personal productivity, there are all kinds of tools available where you can add, change, and adopt things the way you like and your organization can use the best possible way. One size doesn't fit all is in fact not a problem, it's a challenge to create a solution without fixed changes to the core, but your way, the way you can use applications to the very best. All the productivity tools are part of the Microsoft Power Platform. You've seen some examples of Power BI in a previous session, and now we will talk about the other three. Give you just a snapshot of what is possible. Not so much the fancy examples, but more how to prepare and how to get ready and how to use the best tools for your. But let's start with adaptive cards. Adaptive cards are used in web design and in the design of mobile applications, not so much in the ERP environment. Those adaptive cards are really used in all applications of the Power Platform. They are, so to say, the basic building block. It is not so much how they look, because that is arranged by the tool itself, but what you would like and what you want to see as an action. For each business scenario, there is a card. The tool of the adaptive cards gives you the opportunity to create a card, tell where it's used, and then the tool itself will take care of positioning on the device that you are using the cards for and the application. This makes things very simple and give you a very good overview of what. But what are the limits? Can we use only information from the ERP? The answer is no, because Microsoft created over 275 connectors, pre-built connectors you can use instantly with where you can integrate with the products using those connectors. Salesforce, the Excel, name it, you can use those tools and interface with them, creating the adaptive cards. An actionable message in Outlook is also an adaptive card. This is a way of communication with all kinds of applications. You see an example in Outlook, and the card was creating for publishing job postings. What you see on the bottom, the set due date, move, add a comment, view in Trello, those are the actions that are added using a workflow. This information is created in Outlook, and you can react directly from Outlook on this message, and that will be handled by the workflow engine. Like mentioned, adaptive cards are everywhere. Here you see a Power App, which was created using a template, also as a set of adaptive cards. Depending on the device where we are running the Power App, you will see a difference in presentation of the data. But in fact, functionality is exactly the same. Here you see an image of the same Power App embedded in Microsoft Teams. You probably heard of the fact that there are two types of mobile applications within the Microsoft platform. The Power App, as you see here, and a mobile app, something that you can download from the App Store. This is also the big difference. The Power App is normally only used by people which are part of the organization that are running the license. When you talk about mobile apps, the functionality can be exactly the same as a Power App, but they are also accessible by people that are from the outside organization. Power Apps can really be very powerful. It's also said that a super user, somebody who has feeling for creating those kind of applications, can do that in the environment that Microsoft is offering. You don't need a specialist for that work. But what we see more often is that companies try to come up with a good idea, prepare it properly, and then hand it over to somebody who really takes care of the technology to get out of it what is possible. What is done with Power Apps, that super users can do that, that is not set for mobile apps, because there we need much more technology around it for the creation. But we see organizations, we work with organizations, enterprises, who has a department who are both creating Power Apps and mobile apps, and not touching the standard application anymore. Microsoft Teams is probably the most used tool in the days that we are sitting home working and talking to other people and trying to perform what we normally used to do. We have a feeling that Microsoft Teams will stay because it's changed the way we were working, but it changed it in a positive way. It is the combination of all kind of individual products like we know them from before, like OneNote, Skype, those kind of tools. Maybe even it gets close to SharePoint, but this is one of the best tools that we see today. We get quite some questions of putting all kind of new functionality in Teams, where Teams is becoming the important tool for an organization. This is a good example of the interaction between a third-party tool, Salesforce in this case, and Teams. We create a member in Teams using information from Salesforce. This is just an example of how interaction can work. This picture you've seen before in the data session, but it's still one of the best overviews of how data can be integrated into Teams and shared with people which are on the call directly. Data can change, you can have the discussion and change it when you want, and happy ending a solution in much shorter time than ever before. Microsoft Flow is the product where you can create workflows of all kind of repeatable tasks in your organization in a very consistent way. It can be simple tasks, but also large systems that are executing the activities defined by yourself. The use of pre-built connectors, like we showed before, is also in Microsoft Flow very handy. This is an example of a workflow. It looks simple and logical, but it needs quite some preparation. When you know exactly what you would like to do, then creating these workflows are really simple, and they are executing exactly always the same way. From a consistency perspective, you will be able to see exactly how the workflow is reacting to certain situations. So there is a complete audit trail of the decisions that have been made. New to Microsoft Flow is a product called UI Flow, which is a robotic process automation tool. Compared to Flow itself, RPA capabilities can be used inside your organization, but also outside your organization, accessing external applications as were you the user of that application, and giving back the information that you need. This is an example of UI Flow of a robotic process automation where we do automatic invoicing in AX. We access SAP in this case, get information back, a file probably, and with this file we are adding information inside our own environment. Completely unattended, which means that when there is a file, when there is contact, he will execute it. Here you see an RPA example where the staff is training the robot, making the decisions themselves. The task is handed over to the robot, he is executing some tasks that we would like him to do, and when there is an exception, we only take over. This is still in the beginning phase. But when we are comfortable that the robotic process automation is working pretty well, then you'll see that the robot can execute the task that we will give him, giving us as an individual the room to work on the things that are more important to me. I would like to end the presentation with an example, which is a specific customer case that we created using Teams for communication about production planning. The assignment was to create a tool where we can talk with the production planning team interactively, and that was not possible within Microsoft Dynamics AX. Therefore, we created an application using Teams, showing all the information needed to make decisions in one session between all the people in the organization. The purchase schedule was embedded in Teams to give an overview what is possible today, and you see all kind of information created so that people could really make decisions on the fly. One step further, it went with the master planning schedule. Also, the assignment was going a little bit further to see capacity, it must be fast, and all that kind of things. And especially because there were a lot of people involved from abroad in this international organization, they would like to have one meeting, make all the decisions. And the result of it all was that normally it took them 2.5 hours and sending quite some emails. And now in 20 minutes they are doing the planning and it's updated and accepted. And this is the overview of what was created as the master production schedule, a new tool that was also embedded directly into Teams for people to see where the capacity was and where there was room, where there was overflow, very lively, and this is used in a daily manner. And here we end our presentation. It was just a quick overview of all kind of functionality. In the earlier mentioned experiment library, we will upload all kind of examples where you can have a good overview of what is possible as a reference when we are using the tools for experimentation or for implementation at your place. Many trials have started and many failed, or better said, some were very successful. We are talking about the distributed ledger technology, better known as blockchain. With this presentation, we would like to give you an overview of what is going on in your industry and where we can help with this technology. Some of our team have been involved in the world of blockchain for already quite some time, in creative experiments to test the impact of blockchain in certain industries. Over time, more of us got involved, and especially for a topic like blockchain, it is important to have people who can approach the subject from a clear business perspective, balancing the pros and cons, and to have a group of people involved in the technology. The project we have been involved in so far are in finance and in the food supply chain. We all have experienced the drastic change of the way we work in a very painful way due to the global health problem we are anticipating today. People even talk about the new normal, and many of us get insecure. It is of all times that in innovative situations the sentiment has been defensive, like the internet will always be for geeks, or digital cameras will never replace film. Smartphone market will be small because of the cost. Electric cars will not be successful. Acceptance of change should prove itself over time by successful experimentation, supported by believers and entity fearing for their future. In certain cases, success will come faster than in other ones. But the change, or better said, the disruption, will happen. One of the industry segments that is constantly looking for new models to stay in business is the banking industry. An area banks are typically interested in when it comes to blockchain is trade finance. The elimination of the middleman is a constant process. The role of a bank as the provider of money is under pressure due to cryptocurrency, especially stablecoins. Banks need to focus on becoming a center of excellence and provider of knowledge. In many blockchain initiatives, banks are heavily interested to play a role as an investor. The discussions about the central bank digital currency are ongoing. Because of the COVID-19 situation, it seems the speed of implementation is faster. With UK, China and Sweden as frontrunners, the implementation will take place. Initiatives in Europe by local central banks and the ECB are ongoing. Countries like Germany, Netherlands, Belgium and Denmark are participating. Japan and Korea are already pre-launching. In the US, initiatives are speeding up as well. The two areas of implementation of the central bank digital currency are retail and trade financing. Of course, there are hurdles to be taken, like the part of regulations, but eventually solutions will be found. Some of the DycoTradeNext people are involved in projects creating a lending portal, a lending platform for SMEs with less rules and prompt answers. Most of the initiatives in the CTRM and ETRM business are focusing on the improvement of all kinds of elements in the process, speed of transaction, too many unnecessary activities, cost and lack of trust. It all seems and looks so logical, but the implementation will take some time, but will eventually happen. Like mentioned, there are several initiatives ongoing, and we will give you one or two examples. One of them is a company called Comgo from Switzerland, founded as an example of what we call a multi-platform initiative. Starting in energy, new platforms are developed for agricultural and metal commodities. Like you can see, quite some banks are shareholders of this initiative. Another project is Covantis. Some large organizations are part of it, concentrating on digital documents in the post-trade world. In the project, some outcomes were defined, like lowering error rates, automation of tasks, decreasing manual activities, and increasing speed of transactions. The initiative has its focus on the improvement of process instead of trade financing. Microsoft entered into an alliance with Ethereum in 2015, creating a toolkit for easily creating blockchain solutions. The technology, in fact, is not that complex. The culture change of using blockchain is for many companies still far away, they think. We will keep you informed about our developments in blockchain projects. And at the same time, we will closely monitor the development of digital ledger technology, trading platforms, central bank digital currency, and distributed finance, and give you an overview of those developments. But how to apply all that new technology is in a sensible way. Running experiments can help. But how to make sense of all the new stuff needs guidance. The DycoTrade CTRM solution will stay the core application for your company. New technology will be added for your individual needs. And then the question is how to do that, how to convince the people back home that we need that new things and that we can use it to get better. The picture we showed with all Microsoft products is already old at the moment of presentation. That is why DycoTradeNext is introducing the build of an experiment library with examples made by us and others to show you the best options available. In the Microsoft library of examples, there are so many entries that this will overload the user community. We, as a group of DycoTrade companies, will also execute internal experiments about the application of new technology in the CTRM core solution. These experiments will also appear in the experiment library. We will filter all options and you can use them for the best. Over the years, we have been executing several initiatives from the implementation of new technology up to new ways of working for enterprises taking over the development and operations. In all cases, the million-dollar question will be asked at a certain moment. How much will it cost and what effort will it take? A question hard to answer in an early stage. Executing short, outcome-focused experiments of some days or weeks will shine light on the activity from all sides and make an estimate of resources needed more feasible. You can get feedback from others without having to prove the solution works. In fact, you are training to get ready for the right start. Many companies are burning time and money without focusing on the right outcome. Trial and error is a very bad strategy. If you have examples of possible experiments, please share them with us. Here ends our last presentation of today, and we'd like to thank you very much for your attention. Before we start our Q&A session, we will take a 5-minute break. In the Q&A session, we will answer some of the questions you have asked us today. All questions will be answered, and the result will be communicated with all of you.